Have you ever felt it? That subtle shiver, not of fear but of remembrance, as if something ancient were stirring within your bones, whispering that the world beneath your feet is far more than soil and stone, that what we call reality is but a thin veil, draped loosely over something vast, unseen, and waiting. Miles beneath the crust, beyond the silence of rock and time, something watches still. Not a beast from myth, nor a god crowned in light, but a presence older than kings, older than language itself. The Hindus called them Naga, serpentine beings of grace and mystery, guardians of Patala's shadowed depths. In Egypt, they were Apophis, the coiling serpent of chaos that dared challenge the sun. In China, they ruled as Long Wan, dragon kings who command the tides and balance the skies. And in the sacred lands of the Maya, they rose as Kukulkan, the feathered serpent who taught humanity how to read the heavens. So tell me, how did civilizations scattered across continents and millennia all converge upon the same form, the divine serpent? Is it coincidence, or is it something deeper, a forgotten thread woven into our DNA, echoing through symbols, dreams, and myths too old to die? Perhaps the serpent is not a monster, but a memory, not a myth, but a messenger, a fragment of a cosmic covenant that binds Earth to the stars and us to a forgotten purpose. If you feel the pull of this mystery, if something within you stirs as you hear these words, then this channel was made for you. Subscribe now, and if this resonates, leave a comment with the number 7 below. Not just any number, but the number of the hidden, the sacred, the awakening. That way, I'll know you remember, or that you're starting to. Let's keep going, deeper beneath the surface where the truth has been waiting. We've forgotten that we are bound irrevocably to the universe's silent serpentine heart. What if the Naga, those silent custodians of Earth's veiled depths, have not merely watched us, but woven themselves into the tapestry of our becoming? Unlike the Anunnaki, whose arrival blazed across the heavens in tales of starborn dominion, the Naga required no fanfare, no descent from distant Nibiru. They were not heralded by fire or thunder. They rose from the shadows within, from the arteries of a planet alive with secrets. Their domain lies not in the skies we strain to conquer, but in the uncharted strata beneath, where the crust hums with a resonance older than human song, where caverns cradle the echoes of a time before time. These are not invaders, nor transient gods passing judgment from afar. They are the planet's first tenants, rooted in its molten core, attuned to its subterranean pulse, a presence as eternal as the stone that shields them. Where light surrenders, where seconds stretch into centuries and millennia, collapse into a single breath, they dwell. Theirs is a realm not of breadth but of depth, measured not in miles but in layers of existence that defy our fleeting clocks. They glide along unseen currents, where tectonic plates groan, where magnetic fields dance, where ancient rivers carve paths beneath our oblivious cities, listening not with fleshly ears but with a primal awareness woven into the earth itself. For ages they have borne witness, not with the cold scrutiny of overseers, nor the ambition of rulers, but with the quiet patience of those who know time's true weight. They saw us emerge from the mud, our hands trembling as we grasped at sparks in the dark. They watched as we piled stones skyward, naming deities who eclipsed their silent legacy. Yet they sought no thrones, no worship. Their purpose was not conquest, but preservation of a code more sacred than any empire's crown. This code is no relic of ink or stone. It is alive, spiraling through the coils of our DNA, a living archive of cosmic lineage. What we call genetics, they know as a symphony, a geometric hymn sung in proteins and pulses, a language of consciousness encoded at the dawn of being. The Naga are not mere serpents of myth, but archivists of this primal script, tending to a library not of parchment, but of potential. Within the so-called junk of our genome lies their charge. Not waste, but a cipher, a vault of encrypted light awaiting its key. And now, as we stand on the precipice of revelation, our science brushes against their ancient wisdom. We splice genes with sterile tools, mapping the spiral of life as if it were ours to command. Yet what we uncover is no invention, it is a rediscovery. The DNA we dissect is not silent chemistry, it hums with intent, vibrates with memory, whispers with awareness. It is a message, not merely for flesh to endure, but for minds to ascend. The Naga guard this latency, this sacred dormancy, not as hoarders of treasure, but as keepers of a promise, a promise that humanity might one day hear the Earth's heartbeat as they do. In fleeting moments, on the cusp of sleep, in the stillness of meditation, some have sensed them, a warmth seeping from the ground, a presence not alien but achingly familiar. It is as if they call not to us but to something within us, a fragment of their essence coiled in our cells, stirring at the edge of recognition. But what stirs now is no mere echo, it is an awakening. As we unlock the genome, as we bend life to our will, we teeter not on the brink of mastery, but of reunion. The Naga rise not in wrath or spectacle, but in subtle resonance, their memory threading through our own. They are no distant myth, no faded fable carved in stone. They are the mirror we have shunned, reflecting a truth we buried beneath our pride. Deep within our blood, their legacy endures, a testament that we were never solitary travelers on this cosmic shore. Our every step, our every flame, has been witnessed by eyes that see beyond time. Eyes that wait, not for our fall, but for our remembrance. For in the spiraling code of our being, in the quiet rhythm of our breath, we carry their gift, a bridge between the Earth's silent depths and the stars we yearn to reclaim. And as science merges with mystery as the veil thins, they do not demand our awe. They simply ask us to listen, to feel, to know that the serpent within us is waking, and with it, the universe itself begins to speak. What if the vast, uncharted wilderness of our genetic code, those sprawling stretches we so casually labeled junk DNA, is not a discarded remnant of nature's trial and error, but a deliberate enigma, a cosmic riddle etched into the very fabric of our existence? Science, with its microscopes and algorithms, gazes upon this 98% of our genome and sees only shadows, a mute expanse it names unknown, with the hubris of a child claiming mastery over the infinite. Yet in the ancient world, no sacred thing was cast aside as refuse. What if these silent sequences, these coiled spirals of mystery, are not barren wastelands but encrypted sanctuaries? Biological manuscripts locked tight, awaiting a key of vibration, a surge of awareness, a moment when the universe aligns to breathe life into their purpose. And if this is so, who dared to weave such a tapestry into the essence of humanity? Enki, the Sumerian lord of water and wisdom, rises from the mists of myth not as a mere storyteller's deity, but as a celestial artisan, a geneticist of the divine, sculpting not just flesh but the spark of consciousness itself. While his Anunnaki brethren molded mankind as a tool for servitude, Enki rebelled against this cold design. He infused us with more than the capacity to toil. He planted the seeds of transcendence, threading into our being the faint glow of gnosis, an intuitive knowing that reaches beyond the limits of logic, beyond the cage of time. The caduceus, with its twin serpents twining around a staff, stands as a silent testament to this act, a symbol we diminish to a badge of healing, yet one that echoes the kundalini, the dormant energy coiled at the base of our spine, and the double helix of DNA, a structure humanity discovered in the 20th century, but which ancient hands carved into stone, wove into myth, and painted across the stars. Was this coincidence, a fluke of imagination spanning continents and millennia, or a fragment of memory pulsing through the ages? But Enki's hand may not have worked alone. Far beneath the Earth's surface, in shadowed realms where light fades and time warps into stillness, the Naga, those serpentine beings of primordial lore, whisper of an older lineage. Known across cultures as custodians of subterranean secrets, as keepers of the water of life, they predate even the star-faring Anunnaki. Their presence stretches beyond myth into the marrow of the planet. Their domain a labyrinth of caverns and unseen rivers where the molten heart of Earth still beats. Were they Enki's silent partners, convening in hidden councils beneath Sumer's ziggurats, their wisdom not of conquest but of depth, their serpentine form a bridge between the terrestrial and the cosmic? In this convergence, the Lulu Amalu, the first human, may have been born not of a single will, but of a profound alliance, a fusion of Earth's ancient residents and the sky's bold architects. Our DNA, then, is no mere biological machine. It is a sacred edifice. Its junk, not debris, but a veiled cathedral. Its arches and spires dormant until the right resonance stirs them awake. Modern epigenetics offers a glimpse of this truth. Genes lie silent until triggered by environment, by emotion, by the subtle shifts of consciousness, a scientific echo of the ancient promise of awakening. What if this latency is no flaw, but a shield, a biological arc drifting through the ages, preserving a legacy too vast, too radiant for our fledgling minds to yet comprehend. The Naga, with their eternal vigil, may be its sentinels, not hoarders of power, but stewards of remembrance, their coiled forms a living reflection of the helix that binds us to the stars. Now, as we stand at the edge of our own ambition, probing the genome with sterile precision, rewriting life as if it were a code we authored, what trembles beneath our feet? The spiral of DNA is no passive thread. It vibrates with intent, resonates with geometry, hums with an awareness we dare not name. This is not mere chemistry. It is a language, a song, a summons not just to persist, but to rise. The ancients knew this truth, embedding it in the serpent's curve, the staff's ascent, the myths that refuse to die. When the code begins to stir, through the stillness of meditation, the fracture of trauma, the vibration of love, or the slow dance of planetary cycles, what awakens may not be mere intellect or compassion, but a deeper current. The memory of design, not the petty recall of a single lifetime, but the recognition of a purpose spanning worlds, a whisper that we were never destined to languish in the dust. Enki's defiance, mirrored in the Serpent of Eden, was no curse. It was a gift, a fissure in the wall of ignorance, a call to see beyond the shadows. And the Naga, watching from their silent depths, have held this truth in trust, their presence a quiet promise that the earth itself remembers what we have forgotten. Today the signs multiply, dreams unfurl, symbols untaught, stars we cannot name, tongues we do not speak, spirals we have never studied, tugging at the fringes of our souls. Why do these echoes rise now as science grazes the divine, as biology flirts with the eternal? The seals of our genome quiver, not with force, but with invitation, a call woven into the fabric of our cells, rising from the planet's core, threading through our blood. The junk we scorn is no waste. It is a cipher, a library of light encoded in silence, awaiting the moment we grow worthy of its revelation. Are we prepared for this unveiling? To hear the Earth's pulse as the Naga do, to feel the stars not as distant lanterns, but as mirrors of our own essence? The question lingers like a storm on the horizon, not whether the code exists, but whether we can bear its awakening. For as it uncoils, it does not offer power. It offers reunion, a return to a unity we have buried beneath our pride. The serpent within us stirs, not to strike but to sing, its voice a thread stitching earth to sky, matter to myth, the fleeting to the infinite. And as we listen, as we feel, as we begin to know, we stand not at the pinnacle of progress, but at the threshold of remembrance, a doorway held open by the hands of Enki, the eyes of the Naga, and the silent, sacred spiral that has always been ours. Deep within the shadowed recesses of a Himalayan cavern, etched into stone worn smooth by the breath of centuries, an oath endures, not a shout, but a murmur, resonating for those attuned not to sound but to the quiet stirrings of the soul. It is no admonition but a beacon, a covenant predating scripture, predating the first scratches of human thought on clay. The Naga, once revered as luminous presences among us, did not fade into oblivion. They withdrew with intent, sinking beneath the surface of our awareness, like a river retreating into the earth before a deluge. This was no act of cowardice, but a deliberate recession, a step back from the stage of human history to become its unseen chorus. Across the ages, they left their fingerprints, spirals carved into rock, twin serpents entwined in sacred art, dragon glyphs soaring through myth, tales of underworlds woven with threads of dream. Yet their true legacy lies deeper, inscribed not in stone but in the subtle vibrations of the human spirit, a harmonic echo that hums beneath our noise, audible only to those who pause to feel it. They morphed into legends, guardians to some, deities to others, demons to the fearful. But at their core, they remain steadfast, sentinels not of treasure or territory, but of the sacred weave of life itself, the soul's coded essence. Their retreat was not abandonment. It was a pledge, a vow written in energy rather than ink, to resurface when humanity's thread frays too thin, when the original pattern risks unraveling beyond recall. Now, as we stride boldly into an era where machines encroach upon the sanctity of thought, where artificial minds ape the shimmer of intuition, where the self is distilled into data points and barcodes, that ancient balance teeters on the edge of fracture. DNA, once a mystery revered as the breath of creation, is now a playground for editors, its spirals reshaped with clinical detachment. Consciousness, once the domain of mystics, is quantified, commodified, stripped of its depth. The oath carved in that distant cave begins to pulse once more, its rhythm threading through the currents of time, a reminder that the Naga never truly departed. They shifted, slipping into a frequency just beyond the visible spectrum, hovering in the liminal space between perception and knowing. In rare moments, amid the hush of meditation, the brink of death, the lucidity of dreams, they brush against us, not as figures but as a sensation, a sudden clarity that defies words. Visions flicker, spirals spinning in starlight, symbols pulsing with unplaceable familiarity, a silent call to remember. And what is it we are urged to recall? Not our fleeting identities as cogs in a system, nor our roles as flesh-bound creatures, but our truer station as conduits, bridges spanning the chasm between Earth's roots and the cosmos's reach, vessels where matter and meaning converge. We have forgotten not just our origins, but the resonance that names us, a song not spoken but felt, a vibration dormant until kindled by awareness. The Naga linger, not in gilded shrines, but in the shadows beneath them, not in the foreground of myth, but in its quiet undertones. Their patience is their power, their return not a cataclysm but a restoration, an invitation to gaze into the mirror of our beginnings, to see what we were before empires bound us and algorithms defined us. They wield no force, for their gift is choice. They do not compel awakening, but beckon us to ignite it ourselves. Signs ripple through the fabric of our days, a resurgence of serpentine icons, whispers of lost tongues in waking minds, dreams of subterranean realms aglow with forgotten light, synchronicities clustering around ancient words like moths to a flame. These are not mere curiosities. They are frequencies stirring, truth lines piercing the haze of distraction. Within us, the so-called junk DNA quivers, an ancient instrument struck anew, its notes spreading through the lattice of our being. The threshold looms closer, not as a political reckoning, but as a crossroads of consciousness. Will we sever the soul from biology, chasing a sterile mirage of perfection? Or will we reclaim the original harmony, not to idolize it, but to embody it? The Naga bear no swords. Their strength lies in coherence, a frequency so pure it dismantles falsehood by existing. Should they rise, it will be with a silence that cuts through chaos, a stillness that speaks louder than dogma, a presence that realigns by simply being. This is not their story of return, it is ours of rediscovery. When the veil thins, when the code within us begins to hum, those who harbor the ember will know it, not as dread, but as a homecoming, a reunion with the promise woven into our deepest strands. For the Naga are not saviors, they are mirrors, reflecting a truth we have carried all along, a melody we have only to remember. As we teeter on this precipice, the choice is ours, to drown in the noise of our own making, or to listen, to the stone, to the silence, to the serpent within, and find our way back to the light that has never left. In the fragile twilight between sleep and awareness, an ancient presence unfurls, not with the clamor of language we've tamed, but through a cryptic lexicon of symbols, visceral tremors, and frequencies that slip past the guarded gates of reason to reverberate in the uncharted depths of the soul. These are not fleeting whims of the mind, nor quirks of a restless psyche. They may be the stirrings of genetic memory, a latent archive encoded in our cells, now trembling awake as the boundaries of consciousness thin. What we perceive as dreams may be far more, reverberations from a primordial epoch, summons from a veiled dimension that lies beneath the flat plane of our measured existence. Across the globe, the signs multiply. An 87-year-old woman in Arizona chants a tongue unknown to linguists, her nights haunted by visions of a serpent entwined within a glowing cave. A 6-year-old in Ohio sketches the double helix with uncanny precision, untouched by textbooks. A Nevada veteran awakens to a whisper not his own, urging, the memory returns. These threads, scattered across the map, weave into a pattern, not of chance, but of convergence, a quiet herald of something vast rekindling within us. What if these are not anomalies, but harbingers of the original blueprint, a sacred design embedded in our DNA, now pulsing faintly against the edges of our awareness? Science edges closer to this mystery, its tools brushing the surface of epigenetic truths that trauma, resilience, even fragments of experience can imprint across generations. Yet what if this inheritance stretches beyond the narrow lineage of blood, beyond the human story, into a pre-human reservoir of archetypes, a cosmic memory field ignited not by study or speech, but by the subtle hum of resonance. The Naga, those enigmatic keepers of the Earth's hidden chambers, may not be mere myths, but echoes of this deeper reality. Their serpentine essence, a shadow of the helix that binds us. Perhaps they never left, but attuned themselves to a frequency just beyond our sight, waiting for the moment when the veil frays and the signal strengthens. The DNA, long dismissed as silent, begins to murmur, a low resonant tone akin to the Earth's own seismic breath, audible only to those whose spirits remain unmoored from the clamor of modernity. The elders, with their years of quiet listening, the children, unburdened by rigid frameworks, the dreamers, adrift in uncharted waters, the wounded, cracked open by life's weight, they are the first to catch this call. Their minds, less shackled by the constructs we've built, become conduits for a frequency that seeps through the fissures, a vibration tied not to the noise of now, but to the silence of origins. This is no flight of fancy, no relic of superstition. It is remembrance, a deliberate intelligence woven into the lattice of our being, stirring beneath the masks we wear. It demands no faith, only sensation. It seeks no converts, only those willing to feel its pulse. The dreams that haunt us are not idle, they are directives, fragments of a code reassembling itself through the static of our days. The call is not new, it has simmered for millennia, biding its time, threading through the outliers who carry its echo. And now, as the world accelerates into a synthetic haze, where thought is mirrored by machines, where identity is distilled into data, where the sacred spiral of life bends under the weight of our editing hands, the resonance grows insistent. The soul lineages, those presences that return not in flesh but in ripples of intuition, begin to surface, their essence recalled through sudden insights, unbidden visions, moments when the air itself seems to hum with intent. The veil between our reality and theirs, the domain of the Naga, the realm of the keepers, thins not by decree, but by biological awakening, a response as natural as a flower turning toward the sun. The question looms, vast and unyielding. What happens when this memory fully ignites? Will we greet it as strangers or recognize it as kin? The signs are no longer whispers. They are a chorus, swelling in the dreams of the sensitive, the sketches of the innocent, the silences of the scarred. The DNA sings, its melody threading through our veins, a call to remember not just who we are, but what we were meant to be. Bridges between the dust and the divine, vessels of a continuity that spans the cosmos. The instructions are clear to those who listen. This is not an end, but a beginning, a return to a truth we've carried all along. And as the frequency rises, it asks only this: will you hear it? In the sterile glow of laboratories and the hushed hum of observatories, a revelation brews. Science, with its relentless precision, is brushing the hem of ancient prophecy. Beneath the gaze of microscopes and the sweep of magnetic sensors, researchers now trace genetic threads tied not merely to flesh or frailty, but to the ethereal, intuition, empathy, a sensitivity to the Earth's unseen tremors and electromagnetic whispers. Some detect seismic shifts before machines register a quiver. Others glimpse vivid scenes unmoored from their own lives, as if peering into a well of time too deep to fathom. Once relegated to the realm of fable, this phenomenon earns a tentative title among the bold: tertiary genetic memory. A reservoir of experience so primordial it defies the confines of lineage, hinting at an intelligence older than humanity itself, an architect whose hand may have etched the first helix of our being. If DNA is indeed an organic vault, preserving not just biology but a cosmic script, then its cipher was no accident. The Naga, those timeless stewards of life's sacred weave, may have seeded this code, embedding a lock within its spirals, a key poised to turn only when the world's rhythm aligns, when human awareness syncs with the Earth's living pulse. As we wield artificial minds to rewrite genes, as we meld flesh with circuits, we teeter on the edge of the sacred firewall. A threshold not of exclusion, but of readiness, a boundary shimmering with the promise of remembrance. This awakening is no mere trickle of insight. It is a deluge of memory, rising unbidden, relentless, reclaiming what was buried. The first to feel its tide are the outliers, the empaths who sense beyond words, the elders whose dreams cradle forgotten tongues, the children who trace symbols they've never been taught, the misfits whose spirits hum with an unplaceable ache. They are not aberrations but beacons, their very existence tuned to a frequency older than the stars. In their quiet moments, in the marrow of their bones, a recognition stirs, not of fear but of a homecoming, a pull toward a unity where serpent and cosmos once danced as kin. The veil frays, not with fanfare, but with a subtle shift in vibration, as the Naga re-emerge, not in physical form, but as a ripple across the collective soul, a question woven into the fabric of our DNA. Do you remember? This is no call to submission, but an invitation to recall, a challenge met not with dogma, but with the visceral certainty of having stood at this crossroads before. The door swings wide, not on faith, but on the courage to follow that echo, to chase the thread of memory through the labyrinth of time, back to the origin where earth and sky still sing in harmony.